Picture this. You're running small groups and all you hear is constant noise. Fingers drumming on desk, someone humming a song, and every time a voice starts, another one jumps in. Just finish. It's not because your students are bad. You just don't actually understand when it's okay to talk and when it's time to be quiet. And this is where picture books change everything. Stories are 22 times more memorable than facts because kids connect to them. They remember characters, they remember moments, and they remember the meaning. That's why picture books should always be one of our first strategies when teaching or reteaching classroom expectations. Instead of constant correcting, you get shared language, shared references, and students who actually understand your expectations. In today's video, I'm showing you how using relatable read-alouds teaches students when it's a good time to talk, when it's time to listen, and how to manage their voices so your classroom runs calmer, quieter, and smoother. Okay, so the books that I would skip on this first up is Interrupted Chicken, because it shows her interrupting and what it's like to be interrupted, but it never has a closing or a lesson. And then the other one that I wasn't the biggest fan of was Listen Buddy. The reason for that one is because it shows him not listening and it kind of has a solution, but it really has nothing to do with school. Depending on what I actually wanted to teach would depend on what book I would start with. And definitely be sure to stick around to the end because that's when I'm going to be sharing my most favorite book for teaching about volume and voice levels. First up is this book, My Mouth is a Volcano. In this book, it's a story about Luis, who always finds that he has something very important to say. And as he thinks that his words erupt out of him like a volcano. Luis learns his lesson after he gets a taste of what it feels like to be interrupted by his classmates. So basically, he's doing a show and tell, and as he's telling about different things, his classmates keep blurting out stories that it makes them think of. And so as he's being interrupted, he realizes that he shouldn't be interrupting others either. Really, this book is great if you need to tackle blurting in your classroom. The next book, I Don't Want to Be Quiet, is a book about a little girl who just loves to be loud. She just likes to be loud all the time. And it's only when she stops to listen that she realizes all the things that she's been missing out on. So basically this happens when she's in the library and her classmates tell her that she has to be quiet. And she finds a book and she becomes engrossed in the story. And she realizes after hours of being quiet that it's okay to be quiet. And so the next day she tries out being quiet and she learns all of these things that she's kind of been missing out on. She learns some new things at school. She hears new noises, goes into then times and places that it's okay to be loud and when we should be quiet. I would use this book to first off start teaching about voice levels, especially in the library, since that's where she comes to her aha. And then I would extend it to other places that we would want to be quiet and what places it's okay to be loud. Our next book is Quiet Please, Owen McPhee. In this book, Owen loves to talk. He just loves to talk. I'm sure you've had those kids who love to talk. He talks so much that he can't hear what anyone else is saying. But then he gets laryngitis and he gets sick. And when he gets sick, he learns that he's listening a lot. And so then he's learning that there are good times to talk and other times to just listen. So this book really focuses more on not talking, especially not talking over our friends. So I would use this book if you have students that are just constant talkers and if they're constantly talking over one another. This next one is one of my new favorite books and it's called Cinderella. Cinderella is about a little girl named Cindy who is always just yelling. So her brother and her classmates start calling her this nickname, Cinderella, which she absolutely hates. She's almost left out of getting invited to a party, but the little girl says, you know what, you can come, but please don't yell. That night, a fairy word mother comes and helps her find her kind, calm words that she's been wanting. And the next day, she can see what an effect having her kind, calm words versus yelling and being negative have on everyone around her. This is a great book to talk about yelling voices versus a calm voice. And I also love the message of what kind of words we're saying. This book is perfect to teach not only volume, but what we say to people matters. Okay, our next one is a very practical one. It's called Voices Are Not for Yelling, and it is a board book, but don't let it put you off. It teaches kids what we use our voices for. And then it also gives great examples of when to use an indoor voice and when to use an outdoor voice. And it gives so many examples, which is one of the things I really love. And then it gives strategies for quieting our voice. I really love this simple book, especially for younger children to begin to learn about voice levels. I love that it just starts off with 2. Too many might be too much for them. And so it's just learning about the indoor voice versus our outdoor voice. Next up is my favorite book to teach about voice levels and to help you quiet your classroom. And it is Decibella and her 6-inch voice. The little girl, Isabella, is always too loud, but her teacher teaches her 5 different voice levels and where to use them. I also really love that she learns what's called a 6-inch voice, because I think that that's one that's hardest for students. It's when you're just 6 inches away and no one else should be able to hear you. I love that her teacher also has her practice each voice level, and I like to have my students practice at the same time that Decibella is practicing. It makes the book so much more memorable. If you're looking for the link to any of these books, you can find the links down below. If you are needing more strategies for quieting your class, you'll want to watch this video where I've ranked 30 methods of quieting a class, what works and what doesn't.